Hey, that's a sign from the universe. Good morning. I was about to get really into it too. I have an A harp. We're listening to a little track called Slow Chicago Blues. Good morning to you. I want to take a minute and talk about technique today, and I want to talk about how you can let it speak for you. How can your technique serve you best when you're trying to improvise? And I'll explain what I mean by that. So let's try something different. Maybe that's the sign. I'm listening to these MCCD tracks again. This is something that I use a lot on YouTube if I'm going to use a backing track. So here's the thing. Let's get right into it. Let's just talk about it. Maybe that was the sign. I think one of the things that's happening especially with harmonica players, maybe it happens outside of just harmonica players, but one thing I am noticing that is coming up a lot, let me get away from this. Oh, that's the thing. Is that harmonica players learn technique, but they're not sure what to do with it, how to integrate it, how to use it, how to let it speak for themselves versus trying to. I think what's happening is in the world of improvisation, most players are chasing ideas. They're thinking in terms of licks. If we scope out what improvisation is, it's a story you're telling. It's a language. There's a lot of analogies that people use, but essentially there's many elements that are common or that cross over to all great improvisers and great solos. And one of those things is that their technique is sharp enough to create emotion. It is fine-tuned enough to actually communicate something all by itself and doesn't need you to do anything else to help it once the technique is locked in. So let me try to demonstrate that and then talk about that idea. Let's take not that track. Let's see what this is. Another slow blues track. Let's just take the idea of dirty notes. A little bit of a tremolo kind of effect, pulsing it. A harmonica. Even on the 5 chord. There's enough emotion going on in just the sound itself when you get it right. My point is that you don't need to try to riff all around it and do something extra special. Of course, the riffs will come up and you're going to play these ideas. And this goes for almost any technique outside of bending's unique because we're talking about actual note choices, right? And good morning if you're here. I have not looked at the stream at all. But bending is a little bit different because bending, we're actually targeting specific notes. But there's a way to do the same thing with bending and not thinking in terms of notes. Let me show you what that sounds like, where we just utilize all the availability of like the microtonal part of bending between like a whole step range on hole 3 of half and full step. Just take 3 draw. Resolve it to 2 draw. I'm not trying to riff, I'm just exploring the emotional quality of the bend. Same goes with even when I'm lifting out of bends, I'm not really thinking about licks or notes, I'm just reaching for the emotion. So the next time you pick up your harp, be thinking about what are you actually communicating for better or for worse? Like, let me pause this nasty slow blues. Nasty slow blues. Not just any slow blues. Who is here this morning? Good morning to you guys. Thomas, good morning. Ted, good morning. Thanks for being a member, Thomas, and Steve, and Chris, and Charlie. You're all here. Good to see you. So an A harp is what we're using. We're talking about letting technique speak for you. Let's take another example. If you like this topic, I've got like a class, I think it's called Blending Technique for Musical Expression I don't know if I got that right. I'll look it up and put it in the video description later, maybe put it on sale. It's all about integration of technique, and once you learn it, how to bring it into your playing. So this is one angle. This whole topic is one angle of how you can do it. You're not trying to integrate it into a lick. That's a whole nother idea. What I'm talking about is isolating technique and letting it communicate something. So let's take warbles. Let's get away from this. Let's just take an acoustic track here in E. Here we go. 1, 2, 3. Breathe. Now I'm using it to riff, but the first idea is sustaining a warble. Now, you might be thinking, this is nothing new. I've used a warble, but I think the key that I'm trying to get you to latch onto here, the point of all of this, is that we move too quickly. Listen, take it from a guy who's like hyper advanced ADD. Everything in my whole life is on to the next thing before I complete the thing before, and just my brain is too fast. Music is the only time it doesn't do that. So I can speak from this perspective and tell you that let the music rein you in. It should feel like when you're playing, like there's some sort of magnetism or pull into the note you're playing, especially if you're playing draw notes, like pockets, but it goes the same for technique. Like, let it pull you in. The minute you feel yourself being pulled towards something, there's something correct happening most likely with that. So let's take a split and an octave, and I'll show you what I mean. I'm just going to hammer out some ideas just focused on the octaves and splits. Less riffing. Of course, that's a lick, but all octaves and splits. Get the idea? I think what you'll find is that with octaves and splits and a couple other techniques, your goal is to just rhythmically interact with that technique like I just demonstrated. Of course, then you can bring in little licks that are all octaves like that. Primarily all octaves and splits. Is this clicking? You get what I'm saying so far? And then think about other things that you do. What are the other techniques? Good morning, Mr. Noden. And because if you can't take a technique and first make it connect with the music and make it emotional, you're going to have a hard time bringing it into an idea. Because it didn't mean anything in the first place. It was this random technique that you learned that no one told you how to use. So what I'm suggesting is we take these and just sustain some of these ideas. Don't try to move around too much. I remember the first time I ever sat in with a real band, it was Big Jack Johnson. That was nuts. I mean, I probably had no business being on that stage, but he was kind enough to invite me up to play once he found out I learned that I was learning harmonica. This was when I was first starting. And what did I do when I got up? I did one thing right. I did what we're talking about here. I just held on for dear life. I was so nervous. I was just like holding big warbles and, hand wah techniques and things like that, keeping it very simple. Sweeten harmonica, good morning to you. And everyone else. Cameron, what's going on, buddy? Rajesh, good to see you. Good to see all of you guys here. So let's take a couple other examples. I don't want to go like too far with this topic necessarily. If you love it, go check out the class I'm talking about, integrating technique for musical expression. Really teaches you how to do the next step, which is something like this. Take the octave and put it inside of an idea. So you can see how you can fit in a simple octave. Same thing with a warble. And then when you really get the hang of it, you can work on mixing or blending multiple techniques into a single idea. So that might sound like a phrase, let's say, like octaves and warbles could become... I'll play it again. It was quick, but it had a warble and an octave. Something like that, where the octave fell on the 1/4 blow. So it starts with baby steps. And here's the thing. Don't discount it like, I'm past this, because maybe you are, but maybe you're not. What comes first when you're trying to improvise? Some sort of emotional connection to the music, hopefully, because that's what everyone else is trying to latch onto that's listening to you. They're trying to feel what you're doing. And if you're feeling it, they're going to feel it. They are going to feel it. Even if you can't play for shit, here's the truth. Let's say you're somebody that just has you're sloppy as hell, you got no technique, you have no business on stage, you just started, but boy, you're feeling it. It doesn't matter. People will relate to it. Trust me, I've seen more harmonica players who can't play a lick hop on top of a bar and get the crowd riled up. And I'm not trying to be mean. I'm not trying to be, I'm just trying to lay it to you real, which is that give it to you directly from what I see out there, that is important. So I acknowledge when I see that happening, well, this guy's doing something right here because everyone's having a great time and enjoying it. But it would be nice to hear a little bit, sometimes the next step of it being a little more musical, perhaps. But that emotion is key. So I will leave you with something here. What's this? That if I could think of some other techniques to bring in, like hand wah, and maybe some tongue blocking stuff like slaps and stuff. Like, we don't have to play licks. Check this out. Tongue slaps. Just repetition. Right? That's why repetition is so good, and I just did a whole class on looping blues licks. If you missed it, you can pick that up. The idea was like, don't try to chase things. Repeat something. So let's hear some of those on the way out. Simplicity. See how the octaves are doing its job there. See what I just did? Look, I played a chord. The 5 came, I just held the octave. It's doing the work for me. I don't have to riff over that. And then the 4 came. So it's this like layer of sound that is emotionally connecting. And that's what I wanted to communicate today. Try some of this stuff. It's a hard topic to talk about and demonstrate because it comes out. It's just one angle that I noticed that people could be taking advantage of. And it's something that's extremely important for beginner intermediates to latch on to. Thanks for being here live. Let's just hang for a minute. You currently enjoy playing the key of B harmonica. Yeah, that's a great key. I like that key as well. Your last name is Crabtree, so maybe that's where I grabbed that. I really like that key. And thanks for checking out the class. I believe you recently checked out a class. Thanks for being there, Pamela. It's a great harmonica key. The key of B puts you in a key of F sharp or potentially C sharp minor. It's wonderful. And it has a nice tone. It's kind of somewhere, heading towards those lower keys, but not too low. So that's the talk today. There's some things I want to mention that I could have done first, but I didn't. There's a whole lot happening. If you're not a member at Harmonica 123, you might not know this, but you have access to every class I teach, and I'm teaching a whole bunch in 2025, like an insane amount. I was like, 1 to 2 classes per month is the membership. That's what I advertised, but no, it's averaging closer to like 3 a month, 2 to 3 at least. And some months that might even explode to 4 classes a month, all for one low monthly fee of $35 to $45. What do you get? You get $35, all the recordings and access to everything I've ever created, which is hundreds of classes. But as a gold member, you're getting access to attend everything live, Q&A sessions, and all the recordings for $45 a month. Cancel anytime or get the year and save 2 months. It's the equivalent of getting 2 months free because I take off 2 months from the yearly. So that's what's going on with the memberships. I'll put that info in the video description. And there's some classes coming up I want to mention. I've got a class most likely on the 29th happening and the 5th. I have yet to determine what those will be. They'll be classes that I teach. off the 12th. And then on the 19th of April, Todd Parrott's coming. I'm going to have him on a live stream soon. You can sign up already at the early bird pricing by going to harmonica123.com or just check the video description. I'll also put that in the video description. And Todd is amazing. Most of you should already know who Todd is. If you don't, look him up and check out his channel. He's a phenomenal player who is very, very, very soulful. Really love Todd's sound. He's just a hell of a player. So check him out. He's teaching a class. The class is covering Folsom Prison Blues, and he'll be talking about approaches, support. We're using chugs to support rhythmically, using fills in this song and other patterns and ideas that work with this type of stuff. But also it's a 12 bar, so really it's transferable. There's lots to take away from it. Don't miss that class. And of course, Joe Falisco is coming in May in the middle of the month to talk about Sonny Terry. And then Adam Gusso and I are getting together the next month in June to do a really cool topic. I'll share more about that soon, and I'll have Adam on a live stream here before you know it. And there's a lot going on. Now's a great time. If you want to support me, check out the membership. Of course, there is a YouTube membership that helps as well. You can click the join button to learn about that. All right, last one. Let's just leave with something totally different here. No. Let's see what this ice shuffle's about. Here's a good rule of thumb. If you're on a note, especially if you're not moving and you don't feel it, don't leave the note until you feel it. There's no point in playing a note that you don't have an emotional connection to. And that includes stuff that's really fast. So right there, the minute you're feeling it, you have an option to move. But if you don't, you need to rework that note so that it means something to you. It could be that the intonation is off, you're flat or sharp, or it could be that the note sounds thin and it's kind of distracting you. Straighten it out. Like right there, I didn't feel that. So I'm gonna work this out. That's better. Let's work at the bottom of the harp before we go. Grab an A harp. Holes. Here's an idea. You know how we've been isolating? So I'm all over the place as usual, but you know how like often I've done videos where we're isolating and working with only holes 1 through 3, or you've probably seen some of these videos if you followed me long enough, or maybe I was like only holes 2 through 4, or only holes 1 through 2, or one note. Isolation for creative work and figuring out what else you can say with a part of the harmonica, get more out of it. The other day I was working and I played, I think I did 1, 2, and 3 for the 1 chord, 2, 3, and 4. And I've done a little bit of this before, but just to remind you, it's a great way to practice holes 2, 3, and 4 only for the 4 chord. And then for the 5 chord, I got 3, 4, 5, and 6. Let me say that again. The 1 chord had holes 1, 2, and 3. You could extend it 1, 2, 3, 4, but let's say it's 1, 2, and 3. Then the 4 chord was 2, 3, 4, let's say. Let's keep it simple, 3 holes. And then the 5 chord would be 3, 4, and 5. But you might as well include 6, something like that. What would that sound like? Bring it to the track. This track is not doing it for me. I've gone through a lot of tracks in here. This all come from MCCD sessions. One through 3. Two, 3, and 4 hole. Back down. 3, 4, 5. And then you'd mix it up eventually and switch that around, but here comes that 4 chord. One chord. 5. And then move it around, and next time you work through something like that, maybe it's the opposite, you know? The 1 chord is the holes 2, 3, and 4, and constantly move that. And then do that by position. Talk about getting a lot out of your practice. You will certainly learn a lot by doing that. Once again, off topic, kind of going off into the boondocks here. Thanks for being with me live. If you're checking this out as a live stream, should I buy the Hohner Big River Harp C box? Small for starting. Yeah, I did an unboxing. I'm guessing you saw that. Oh, we got a Doge person. It's a Doge. Hey, what's up? I'm really tempted to say something about that, but I won't. So yeah, I mean, why not? It would be good. If you're just starting out, sure, the Big River is going to be a good harp. That's what I mentioned in the video, is like I wouldn't hesitate to recommend it to somebody getting started. Absolutely, 100%. But I would also consider, if you have the budget, you know, maybe you look into something also like the Special 20, compare the pricing first. I'd prefer the Special 20, I would say, over the Big River, but either one, it'd be a good one. Suzuki ProMaster, what do you think of these harmonicas? So I used to work with Suzuki before I got to Hohner. My biggest, not complaint, Suzuki makes good harmonicas, but I'm not a fan of the tuning for most of their harmonicas. And the ProMaster was a pretty good harp. It was set up nicely, James. So it is a nice harp, but I just prefer the brass reeds, the tone of a Hohner, and I also like the tuning that they provide on, say, a Special 20 or Marine Band, things like that. Martin, good morning from Portland. Good to see you here. Appreciate all you guys being here. I don't know if I missed any questions. I don't think I did, but if I did, sorry about that. Appreciate you joining in live. Please check out the upcoming classes, harmonica123.com. I'll post the blending technique class in the video description. I'll link Todd's class coming up in April, Todd Parrott. Look for him on a live stream in the next few weeks. Also have a special guest joining next week, Constantine, who you might have been following from the Honer channel. He's doing some great interviews. He has been for a long time now. I want to say that's been going on possibly since the pandemic. So it's been over 4 or 5 years. He's been busy interviewing all sorts of great players. I got to do that, which was fun to connect with him, and that's where we met. So I'm going to have him join a live stream coming up. And again, look for Todd coming in the next 10 days or so. I'll also have him on a live stream. Good stuff coming. The classes are the way you can support. The membership is the best value for the money. I hope you'll consider checking out that membership. Just go to harmonica123.com and look for the tab up top that says memberships, and you can learn more about it. And on that note, y'all make it a great day, and I will see you soon. More questions. Let me just see if I can answer this real quick. Do I find that the D to me is more bluesy? Do you think it's a better idea for me to stick with that? No, well, it's okay to stick with it for a minute, but you'd want the C because if nothing else, there's more material as far as lessons go in classes that are going to center around a C harmonica. So, and there's plenty of music where you want the C. I'd get a C. I wouldn't just stick to the D. So that's my answer. The D is cool for a minute, but you're going to want that C pretty soon. Yeah, the special 20 is not really just intonation all the way, but it's more leaning that way, and I do prefer that for sure. And that's because those chords are nice and full. You own a set of Manjis, Andy? Yeah. Harder to bend when you do bend them. You feel it. Yeah, I used to play the Manjis when I was with Suzuki, and they were pretty cool. The one thing that kind of drove me bananas, the only thing, and maybe it's changed, but when I would bend on those harps, sometimes there was a shrill kind of tonality to the bends, and I think that had to do with the material of the reeds. Weren't they made out of phosphorus bronze? Or is that just I think they were, or are. I could be wrong. It's just, but they played pretty well. There's just something missing, I started on a special 20, and it's a great harmonica. But now I'm a big fan of those Marine Band Deluxes, like I said the other day. They're wonderful. Hey, Kevin, good to see you here, man. When is the next class? I just kind of mentioned that. I'll mention it again briefly. Most likely, I am going to offer up a couple classes coming up soon, just me, on the 29th and on the 5th. So not this weekend, but next is the next class. And I haven't announced the topic yet, but I will soon. Todd Parrott, April 19th. Joe Falisco, May 17th. Adam Gusso and I, June 14th. There it is. You got the whole schedule, everybody. Write those dates down and become a member. It's honestly you'll save a lot more money and get so much more out of my content by becoming a member. I know I'm pushing it hard today, but I don't always talk about it in my streams or in my videos. I forget, and it's important. I got to put bread on the table, people. So there's another cool thing I want to mention that somebody asked me about today. I got a message about it. They said I was doing a class and they noticed I was using a track that they hadn't heard or noticed, or they didn't know anything about it. And it was really cool. In fact, I'm probably not going to be able to find it right this second. I can't find it. It's going to take a minute to find it, so I shouldn't do this right now. Huh? Oh, I found it. Is this it? Yeah, this is it. I got lucky. There was a class called blues jargon and styles and phrasing, and it was a good friend, Tommy Harkenreiter, joined. Great guitarist, West Coast swing guy, and he created backing tracks for the class. They're freaking amazing. Here's one right here. He's such a good player. So they're like, where do I get those? I'm like, you got to buy the class. I'll link it in the video description. Nice track. But there were many tracks that he created for the class, like a series of many backing tracks you get with it. 2-beat stuff, Lockwood in A. Ike Turner 2-beat. Holes 2 through 4. All of that was on holes 2 through 4, so if you want to try to grab some of those ideas. Anyway, it's been one. It's been one. I appreciate you guys hanging out with me today. I'll be back before you know it, and there'll be another live stream, all sorts of good stuff. And maybe I can do another unboxing if I can find another. You know, somewhere I will be doing another unboxing. I need to locate it first, but I want to say I've got a hold of a couple years ago. Some of those like tribute harmonicas, like a Beatles harmonica or something. What are those all about? Maybe we'll do an unboxing and we'll talk about that next. Make it a great day. Thanks for hanging out with me. Thanks for giving the video a like. Subscribe if you haven't. I'll be back with some content.